Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. Call this meeting to order, just a few minutes late. And Tim, would you lead us in prayer?
Sure. Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come to you today giving you all the praise, honor, and glory. Lord, thank you, Lord, for gathering us together, Heavenly Father. We pray, Heavenly Father, that you would just guide and direct our decisions that we make tonight, Lord. Help us, Lord, to do the things that are pleasing unto you, Lord, and the best will of this public, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Before we do approval of the agenda, I had a call from Kim Wagner that we add something that just was barely missed, and so if it's okay without objection, I was going to put this Homeland Security grant for $42,520.52 on it.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye. So
All
please see.
Yes, please. Okay. So with that, is there any other additions that anybody has for the agenda? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So much.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Approval of the minutes.
So much.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Recognition of the public. We have a few folks that want to come speak. Would Kathy Farman please come forward, and please would you say your name and the agenda item and address.
Sure. Hi, I'm Kathy Arlen. I live at 231 Chipaway Drive in Gallatin. I'm here to speak about animal control. So tonight what I want to talk about is basically what we've been talking about since July of 2023 when the shelter closed unexpectedly. And the next month of that year, citizens came together and they wanted to know what was going on. And that was the formation of the beginning of the first ad hoc. I will say that in this county, it has always been the private citizens that have brought to the forefront issues going on with animal control and care. And I won't go into that history, but it is ugly and we all know it. What we want to do now is to move Sumner County into a place where for the next 5 to 10 years, we will be in a place where animals can get the care that they need. We worry that the inertia shown by this body will not get us there. And I'd like to remind everybody here that the ad hoc 2.0, if we want to call it that, was approved. And we want it to go on because what we want now is a body that can look at the issues, study the options, cost out what it would be, and let us have a real conversation about this instead of kicking this can down the road. I think some of you gentlemen have said that you're tired of talking about animal control. I'm kind of tired of it too. I just want it to get better. So I would ask that everyone here please consider the vote that you took to approve the ad hoc, and let's move on with a new one so we can really get a good structure in place. Thank you.
Jennifer Howard, please come forward and state your name and address. Everybody's on animal control, just so you know, there's 4. So if you would just state your name.
My name is Jennifer Howard. I live at 2201 Highway 31E in Gallatin. Talking about animal control. And really just following up with what Kathy said. I feel like we had made an agreement, and there was an agreement made that we would extend animal control for 6 more months. And then in the next meeting, animal control, at the ad hoc committee, animal control was canceled because we said that it could only be for a year, and that was put it past a year. So it was canceled. And in the next meeting, we discussed that, okay, we're going to create a 2.0 and bring in all of these choices and make the decisions based on the choices being presented, whether leaving it with the sheriff or having somebody else care for it. And then we had, and then it sounded like they were going to create a ad hoc committee 2.0. And then that kind of like dissipated a little bit. And then we had a meeting last week with this third party that came in and gave a nice presentation about what would happen if it was taken out of the sheriff's hands. And then I thought it was a great presentation, but there was a lot of people missing, to hear that presentation, and I know it was recorded. It's so different when you're there live. And I understand it's hard to get there when it's live. I care for my mom. I work full time, I care for my mom, and when I have to do something, I have to find people to care for her. Every time you see me here, because I think it's important, and I got someone to help with my mom, so I can be here. And I'm not an armchair quarterback saying, hey, you all need to do this. On my own free time, when I'm not working, I do get someone to care for mom, and I volunteer at Safe Place for Animals, a local animal shelter. I care about animals, I'm here because I want them. Best for them and an opportunity. So really all I'm asking for is, if we're saying we're going to do 2.0, can we just please do it? Leave the discussion open. I know, like we said, they're sick of talking about things because we don't have a plan. I think an ad hoc committee will help put a plan together, and hopefully we can do whatever direction is best for the animals. Sorry, I'm not a public speaker, but that's
State your name and your address.
Thank you. You start my name already. Stop when I say my name. I'm Donna DeSoto. I live at 101 Chambliss Court in Hendersonville. And I really want to applaud all of you for coming this evening. But this actually is going to be a citizen movement. I can feel it happening. And the unfortunate thing is that it doesn't have to get that way. When citizens feel like they're not being heard, then you start getting a movement, you get momentum, and it takes some time to do that. I sat at this table. I have a lot of intelligence about the subject matter, and I have been coming here. I also provided for you an outcomes report. In that outcomes report, we do have a plan. It's just some people don't want to hear it, unfortunately. And also, you have to understand, there was a gentleman who came from another county who I spoke to in the very onset because I have to do my due diligence to have a handle on subject matter. The data will always tell you and guide you. There is so much ample data and this framework that I created, which I want to see implemented in every ad hoc. This experience has opened my eyes to some really bad shortfalls. And what I'd like to say is that Sumner County has to button up its business. I almost want to start a campaign of button up your business, and we must do that for many reasons. One is it opens us up to liabilities that cost us dearly. And every dollar we have is so precious because we work hard for them. There are people coming on their own time freely to give and to help. And I know I've done that, 18 months to do that. I should not be here because we are under the belief, and the word believe has the word lie in the center, unfortunately, and then what happens is things get uncovered, and our beliefs are incorrect. And you had a really due diligent group of citizens, and I bless you all for doing this, that said the animals have been an aftermath. The animals are dying to the tune, if you calculate over the 16-year window, thousands needlessly died. I have a zero tolerance for that. And you should all, as the voice of the people that we put you in here to do a job, should have a zero tolerance for not only animal abuse, but human abuse. And the things we've uncovered said we must make a change. We must. It's no debate. There's no talk. And anyone who says that they're tired of talking about things that they didn't fix, then they have to rethink why they're even here. Because I will tell you, in the real world, you wouldn't get 16 years of unfavorable data, $1 million plus lawsuit, all that negative stuff, and still have a job. The leadership should have said, oh, we got a problem here. We have 70% euthanization rate, just like Michael took the initiative. He said, I had to euthanize 20 kittens, 20 healthy kittens. I couldn't do that ever again. That was the impetus for change. We have been coming here to say the impetus of change. You've got 10 pages of to-dos, but we have 3 things that are must. When you have a failed model, you will never succeed. You have a jail system that is not a best practice, it has to go. You're using inmate labor. It is not a best practice. It has to go. You cannot ever, in the spirit of the law, bequeath your powers to an entity you can't hire and fire at will. That must change. You have two pathways here on the table. It's a third party, which I was under the understanding in 2008 before I got involved. You had a third party RFP that came in lower. And you decided no. Instead, you decided to bequeath power to an entity you can't control, which is, again, a breach of the spirit of the law. You all even admitted, oh, we can't tell the sheriff's department what to do. And they have so much to do. They have expertise to do what is in the jail system. It's overwhelming. And that system has its own set of problems. You need to do exactly what happened in Rutherford County. Over 15 years ago they did that. We are so far behind the curve. We need to step it up. I already have that there. There's actionable steps, which you have 3 that you need to do. You must do it. So there has to be an ad hoc 2.0, because you're going to get your numbers. You're going to say what's best and equitable for everybody, but most importantly, the animals. We talk about God, but God loves the animals. St. Francis is one of my favorite saints. Amen. The love of animals. If we cannot, on the weakest among us, then shame on us. But we are here and we're saying no. It must be fixed, and I'm counting on all of you. And I support a lot of you. You know me. I'm counting on you to do what you must do and step away from the other inroad disagreements, because at the end of the day, keep your eye on the prize. It's the animals that matter, and we love them. We want you to do that work. Thank you.
With Gail, Zer? Is that right? I'm sorry.
It's they, but,
They.
I think it's pretty much what I would say.
Thank you very much. So for the record, it seems that Gail is for the same things as this.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, so much. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. Thank you so much for coming. And report to the chairman. First of all, I'm sorry I was late. There was a wreck, and it was just one of those things that I tried to make up time, and I thought, being on health and emergency services, I couldn't make up too much time in good conscience. So, also, I want to say that I was very thankful for the director to come from Rutherford County and speak to us at this special call. That was very cool. I got a few points on that, and I'll talk on it when we get to animal control. But that's the main thing. I appreciate all y'all coming out. And that's all for me. But before the county mayor.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Before the sheriff, I spoke with him today, and there are a couple issues on here, and I'm drawing a blank, I think, because I came flying in. One is about the, one will be, I'll talk about when we get here, but well, I'll just wait till we get here. It's more appropriate, I'm sorry. So, but on the, he was planning on being here, we spoke a little bit ago, so he might have gotten held up by something, because he said he would be here. Okay, well, just on this, I'll just go ahead and speak on the animal control piece. So, just a little update, and I've seen there's a lot of passion from those of you who spoke, and I recognize that very much. I will say that, and I spoke to a few of y'all, and there were 2 other folks that didn't make it today that really wanted to come and support the things that y'all spoke on. So there were 2 more in favor of that. Now, I did have several conversations with folks around the county, because, thankfully, I give out my cell number and really try to stay very in close touch with everybody that I can, that are my constituents especially, but then, it's not just about District 14, but it's about the entire county. It's very good. And I will say that the one worry was that it's been from the beginning. I shared a little bit with the folks who were here after the meeting the other night. And I'll just say that one of the biggest worries is that the taxes continue to go up. And it is a big issue, a big problem, especially for District 14, because what winds up happening, and I got told over and over and over again, either through the conversations leading up to this week, or even throughout this entire time of me serving. And it would be a wrong spirit for me as a representative to not share that with everyone, because I've been pleased with and told, hey, if you're going to represent us, our back door is becoming larger than our front door. And our front door is pretty big. We've got a lot of folks moving in. And I'm thankful for that. It's Tennessee, and I love it as much as anybody. And so I think that it's a wonderful state to come to. But that being said, some of our loyal citizens have had to leave because they can't afford the taxes any longer. And some are right on the verge of it. One property tax increase, they had to go. And they're on fixed incomes. And so as much as I love so many things, but the one thing I love the very most in this county are the constituents. And I have to remember that. And so I want to say there were three options that we've been presented. One would be to keep it with the sheriff's department, and I'm just summarizing. One would be to move it under the county mayor's office if he would allow that, and however that would work out. And then another would be to go nonprofit support, where they come in and take over completely. Those are the three main options. There's probably a few other scenarios that would be some hybrid version of those, but that's the main three. And the director came and spoke, and if you have any questions on it, you can go back and watch that. If you haven't, I encourage you to. It's very good. It was very amazing, and it showed the true volunteer spirit of Tennessee, of someone coming from Rutherford County, speaking to another county altogether, and just sharing what they felt. Well, not just what they felt, what they'd seen firsthand. Well, and I love hearing from him. I very much did. But he talked about their budget, which is $3.2 million. Our budget is $800,000. Okay. So, and they have more people, but you got to understand, they have 37 full-time employees devoted solely to animal ad hoc. Not animal ad hoc, that'd be a bigger ad hoc committee, but animal control. And then they have 3 that are part-time. And I wanted to address a couple of things because I had a few people ask me this week and then also during this, and I want to make sure we're transparent here. We did vote to have the ad hoc extended 6 months. And we learned from our chairman that that was actually incorrect procedure because it had gone on longer than it was supposed to go on, unless there was some other reason for it to go on. So I believe he advised us correctly. I believe that he told us that, through the law director and him, that we couldn't go on as it was. So we voted to have another round of names come forward if anyone wanted to. And I think I had 6 people reach out that were very interested. 5, 6, I've got them written down. But, and then I had 1 reach out since then, so that maybe makes it 7. But I got to say that upon our chairman of the commission, Mr. Hyde, and then also our law director's advice, we really needed to have a reason to have another ad hoc. So there had to be a full reason. I thought the number one thing that was the most pressing, and I'm addressing all of y'all because I wanted to make sure this is clear. The most pressing thing was for us to find out options. And so if we would have had an ad hoc, it was, that's how I understood it, was to find out the options, and then I found out we could just reach out and have this kind director come and speak on that. So that was very good, I thought. And I thought that was getting a lot of things moving as opposed to just waiting. But whenever I found out how expensive it was, and then the folks who reached out to me that were for it, they know how expensive it is. I don't think that they're against that. I don't think they're in the dark about that. But I think the other ones who said, look, we love animals, but we're worried because our taxes are going up if we do any of this. And I think that's just where we are. And so, that being said, I believe that, we have had a few months of spay and neuter fully compliant. And I think it's a wonderful, groundbreaking thing, and there's things that were brought to light, and I'm happy for that. I just want to share all that with you guys. I know we're not at a vote yet, but I wanted you guys to be thinking about it, and y'all to be thinking about it. Whatever we do, I believe that people are wanting something to happen, and I believe that it's our responsibility to try to make the best thing happen for the county and the constituents. I know I'm speaking on the sheriff's part. Forgive me for that, and thank you for a little bit of grace. But I just want to share that with you. And I've had conversations with him, and I'm sorry he isn't here because he planned to be here. I'm 100% positive. So, anyway, moving on to the next thing. I'm sorry I spoke a little ahead of time. Thanks for the comments, guys. Report of the Emergency Management Agency.
Yes, sir. Sitting over there for it.
Mr. Chairman, is it possible that he go ahead and present this Homeland Security grant during his report?
Yeah. Is it okay with everyone? Can we take a vote on that?
Yes, sure.
I make a motion that we just leave that up to this and rearrange the agenda a little bit. Second.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
what I've given you is, just a page for the email that I sent on the request. What happened was I missed the deadline. And the reason I gave you that page is because a lot of trash goes in that trash can, so I'm trying to cut down on a lot of things that go in there. So that's what I sent to the county attorney, to the chairman, and I sent to the budget committee. This is part of our annual Homeland Security grant, the $151,000 that they approved in full commission was the UASI part, the Urban Area Security Initiative. This is the Homeland Security part, $42,628, and it's for extrication, personal protective equipment, and it's for a 25 kW generator that we use on backup communication sites. We've got 3 of those. This will round us out to 4, and that's all those we're going to buy that we'll take to power sites if we have a long-term failure. They'll run 60 hours on a tank of fuel, and they serve us a lot better than trying to keep propane trucks running back and forth on something catastrophic. So that's that piece, but I still want to give a report on the storm damage we've had recently. Motion to approve.
Okay, can I ask a question first before we approve it? Is the math coming out right on your total?
I'm not sure. I put that together between, tornado 1. It's in the contract's in the original email, and this is the math, whatever that total is.
Yeah. Okay, because you've got 57852 up here, and it's not showing up down here. I just want to make sure you're getting the right amount.
Whatever the contract amount is on the contract that's right over that page.
I think that's correct.
No, it'd be 42,578.52 if you go off this breakdown.
Well, whatever the contract is, and that just may be wrong, what I put on there. So what's that contract amount?
That says 42,528.52.
Yes, it's that contract.
I just want to make sure we got the dollars
Yes, sir.
right when we approve it.
If I can make an amendment to my motion, then, Mr. Chairman, for up to 42,578.52 approval, and it's flow-through money. Is that right, Director?
It's 100%.
Yeah.
Funded, no county money.
And just before we take the vote, just so folks know, the biggest part of it is the generator,
Yes, sir.
which is $33,000. The rest of it's for protective gear, just so y'all know at home if you get used to it.
Ken, just out of curiosity, the protective gear alone, how's that gonna be dispersed out? Does that stay?
That's EMS.
EMS?
That's EMS
That's all
battalion.
going to EMS?
That's all EMS.
That's what I need to know. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. So my report is, we've been hammered by weather. The flooding, everything that we've had, and the severe weather we've had on Saturday. So we are in the process of doing damage assessments from April 2nd on the first flooding event through the current period. And we've got 2 pieces there. Individual assistance, which helps our citizens, and FEMA will be in town on Wednesday. We're currently doing damage assessments to get our numbers to see if we can be included in that declaration. And we're also doing a thing called individual assistance, and that's city, county, debris removal, damage to infrastructure, damage to utilities, and the like on the government side. So we've got to meet a threshold of just north of $927,000 in local laws to meet the threshold for Sumner County, and the state's got a multi-million-dollar threshold that they have to meet. They're going to meet that from West Tennessee. And then what we do is we complete damage assessment for the public assistance to help the numbers for the state for other counties that need that help. We may not get declared, but those figures will help the state's totals to get a declaration for the counties that really got hammered. And I'm not saying we don't need help, but we really didn't get hammered. My house, my mom and dad's house, it's my brother and my house now, out in Cascade Springs. It's got a tree through it. So we went out Sunday my church Sunday. We were on call Sunday. We went out that afternoon and started cutting trees. So Cascade got hit pretty hard. Hendersonville got hit pretty hard. Gallatin, Bethpage. We were actually in Portland that day executing a search warrant with the SWAT team, and we were watching the weather come in, my ELC manager, I radioed him, I said, give me an update on the rain. He said, I won't worry about the rain, I'll worry about these storms. So there were a lot of reports of tornadoes. Weather Service has been in Sumner County today, and what we have reports from the Weather Service are some 70 and 80 mile an hour winds. No tornadoes documented at this time by the Weather Service. So,
we appreciate those text messages that you send out.
yeah, if anybody, if you don't want that done, I'll take you out and I won't bother you with that. Because you didn't give us your number when we did it.
You need to do that, because it's pretty great.
If you want it, I'll help you. You didn't want to be in the text group when we did that, so, but if you want in, I'll put you in.
Every once in a while, he'll send a message just to cheer everybody up.
Sometimes I'll just tell y'all I love you.
Can you put her on there?
Are you not here?
I'm on there, buddy. Can you put her on there?
I'm making a motion.
Make a motion.
I would text you personally.
I know.
Make sure I'm on there.
How are we going to supplies, Ken, for Swiftwater Rescue?
We've asked for a little more money in the budget this year. The grant you just approved has got, we run some suits this past weekend, but they're older suits that we really need to replace anyway, so there was some money in that, and I've actually I cut a PO for about $15,000 worth of gear, but we've asked for more because that's an ongoing thing to keep our personnel in solitude. Yeah. So.
Are you good now, though? I mean, since you just had this run, are you good now, or do you need?
Yeah, we struggled a little bit to get some guys swapped around on here. We were good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Just a point of housekeeping, I did the math on that. Do we need to redo that last lesson? Because it is right, the number was correct. So whatever you changed it to, is it still?
No, it's still the contract amount.
Whatever the contract amount is, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's on me. I'll shovel that. So I got big shovels now.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I got that.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I don't have any other questions myself.
I'm gonna text you the other night. No, I'm on.
You go right ahead. I'll send you a message.
Thank y'all.
I think you need to change.
May I leave now?
Yes, thank you.
Unless you want to sit in the corner again.
Report of EMS, I spoke to Chief Austin, he told me that, I know that they had one fatality,
We did.
up north of the, north of the county, wasn't North Park. And, it was a car accident, I believe is what it was. Can you speak on that?
Well, it was just a car went off the road and turned over in the ditch with flood water ground.
That's right. Well, they were just out working another one too, and I think that's the reason why they might not be here today, but they were working a different, not associated, but a different day.
Yeah, the report is made its way around.
Yes.
So you'll have the report.
Okay, so, report the ECC, I don't believe there's anything that's supposed to get up with Mike Guthrie.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary. There's a report going around for them as well.
They have been recognized as first responders.
That passed today, yeah.
Yeah, sure did.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, and next week, just while we're on this, and this is important for this committee, next week is, will you name the name of it?
It's TC Week.
TC Week, which is telecommunications week, right?
Yeah.
So, just, if you see a first responder out there, tell them thank you, maybe bring them some donuts or something.
We'll be doing things for them all week.
Yeah.
I think I'm buying lunch one day, I can't remember what day it is. Yeah, we're doing stuff for them all week.
Very thankful for those folks. Okay, so, report, old business, there's no old business as far as I know. New business, options presented for animal control. And, I actually spoke a little out of turn, and you guys were kind. I should have been speaking down here, speaking on the sheriff. I'm not the sheriff, just for true statement, rather. No true statement has ever been said. But, I just, gave a little bit of that background right then, and then, and so I don't think there's any reason to rehash that, but thanks for the leeway with that, guys. Sorry for that, and gals. But, any, yes, okay, second, I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I'd like to, I wasn't here for the, special call meeting, I was out of town, but, I've always been, and you guys already know how I feel about it, is I do feel like we need a ad hoc committee to look at the options that we have on the table to pick the best option. The outside entity, I think, is a great idea, but you're right, there's money involved, but, you know, we spent $3 million on a lot of them. So I think that if we could bring together a ad hoc committee with the mind and the purpose of looking at financial feasibility, operations, and timeline of how it would be done. So, you know, there's three things that you would have to do. So I think that the purpose of that committee would be to formulate that with just like we did before. I thought it was a wonderful committee. And I do believe that we need to have citizens involved, not to just come up and speak for 5 minutes, but to be involved on the committee and work through the process. And the last committee, I think we did a fantastic job. We had a slow start, and there was a lot of reasons for that. But I'm a positive person. I believe in forward thinking. So I think that if we could do an ad hoc with that purpose, which would be different, then that would give plenty of time to put it together and present it, just like the guy that came, present it that way to the team. And that way we could come up with a good plan. It's so easy.
We'll have to run well in if they keep it up.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay,
My motion is to have an ad hoc committee.
okay. Do we have a second?
I'll like to speak to that first. Can I speak to it before seconding?
Yeah.
That was what we're on, is discussion.
Yeah. So, I think we learned a lot from the special call meeting. Anybody that wasn't there should go back and watch it. I think it does the job of what the ad hoc committee would be doing as far as researching what we could do. I would only be for an ad hoc committee if this body voted to do some sort of transition and then figure out a way to make it happen. But we know what's on the table with choices. We just need to decide if we're going to make a change or not. After that's decided, then I think an ad hoc committee would absolutely be in line with trying to figure out how to implement that change. But we know the choices are to let it be bid out by a nonprofit or by letting it be a department under the mayor's office, and we know that that entails funding it. And we learned all of that from that meeting. I don't think an ad hoc committee would tell us anything more with regards to if that's the will of this body. I think it would have to go to budget possibly and figure out the how to fund it type aspects of it. The ad hoc committee was originally to try to get better practices and make improvements and find out what we didn't know about the way things were going. The new scope of a new committee should be for transitioning to something different. I don't think it should be looking for options, and that's where I would disagree with you on that, but wouldn't necessarily be against it when the time is right. And I think I expressed that in the beginning when the one that was extended for 6 months was debated on whether or not we could or not, and I believe we could have still done it. I just conceded to that point because we had gone as far as we could go with regards to it, and now it was going to go in a new direction. It was dependent upon what came from this committee. That's why we just cut to the chase and got somebody to come present rather than us research it to death. That's all I'm going to say on that.
I'm going to get my own cue unless I don't want to jump around. So, I like the argument that has been made about how much money is spent in other places and we spend money here and there. But the argument at hand, it's not on the agenda for those arguments. the argument at hand is how much money it will cost us, or how much money it won't, or where we're gonna put it. That's the only options there are. It's like, will it cost more or less, or whatever. And I think ultimately that we have to look at it, and as a conservative and a representative of my constituents, I have to look at it and say, okay, what do I believe is the most expensive or least expensive? And based on the amount that we saw from the amazing presentation from the director, is that, you know, it seems like it would be pretty heavily increasing our amount of money. And so right now we're only drawing in $13,000 from our local kind of fees, what we're capturing for $13,000, and that's a lot. That's a long way to go. And so I think that, you know, maybe there could be arguments to be made about, you know, how much needs to be and how much doesn't. But I mean, ultimately, I think it comes down to the fact that I agree with what was just said. That is what I would see the reason for an ad hoc. If we were going to vote as the will of the committee or the will of the body, for the will of people, to have if we chose any option that was different than what it is right now, and that's on the table right now. If we chose any option that was different, I think that would be when an ad hoc would come into play and be very, very important in that transition process. But I think that if we chose the one option that doesn't need an ad hoc, then I don't think we would need one. So I think if we say ad hoc before we make the choice, I don't know that that's the most responsible. I feel like it's just spinning our wheels longer. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's how I see it. So that was just me speaking as a committee member, not as chairman right there. So just so you know. Yep.
So, there's about a deficit of, what, 2.4 million, 2.3 million, something like that, dollars, if we look at the scope of Rutherford County compared to where we are now. I don't see that in the county. I'm just going to cut to the chase. I'll make the motion, so we leave it under the sheriff's office.
Yeah, I'll second it.
That's my motion.
I'd just like, before everybody votes on this, to realize we're not at that big of a deficit. Their budget was stated at $3.2 million, but he also said that he gives about $300,000 to $400,000 back every year. So you knock that down to $2.8 million, and then you concede the fact that they're twice the size of ours. So now you're down to $1.4 million, and you got $800,000 right now at a $1.4 million. That's the difference we're talking about there, $600,000. So we already know, I've been told that the sheriff's department's going to come with options for his budget. One's going to be keeping it the way it is now with the animal control, and one's going to be without it. The way it is now is $800,000. So, is he going to reduce it? Is he going to increase it? I don't know. If he increases it $600,000 or aims towards $600,000, how much difference are we at? So, that's where I don't like looking at just the raw numbers of the math, because that can be played with. And we could be right back in the same boat with an increase in animal control budget, even if the sheriff keeps it. So I just want all that to be known before going into this vote.
That's a good point.
It's not just 3.2 versus 800,000.
That's a good point, and Commissioner Wright was next in the queue, and then Commissioner Rogers.
A week ago tonight, we had a gentleman come in from Rutherford County. Super nice guy. Gave an excellent presentation. Number one, it's going to cost a lot more money to go down that road. Number two, I want us to realize, too, they never enforce any laws. That is still on the law enforcement side. He said that they wrote their own search warrants, but they don't serve the search warrants. That is still on the law enforcement side. So I want us to be sure and look to see what we are gaining by leaving it the way it is, and possibly look at giving some more money, budgeting some more money. Don't have to be a whole lot, but some, to help with some of the improvements. Hire some extra people. I think he has asked. Sheriff Craddock and Sheriff Weatherford both asked for more people out there, and they were shot down. Whenever we start looking at Rutherford County, and I hear about inmate labor all the time. Folks,
Yeah,
if
we
you would, please.
keep the outburst to a minimum.
You know, it almost got out of hand last Monday night, and it doesn't need to tonight. I want to make that very clear.
We got to keep it in order.
It was ridiculous now. But I hear talk about inmate labor. These inmates are what are called trustees. They volunteer to go out there. They're not forced to. They're not made to. I read in our packet tonight about suicide. We've never had a suicide at animal control. I don't know where that come from. I heard about a lawsuit. Folks, those happen every day. If you think having inappropriate relationships with an inmate doesn't happen somewhere in this country every day, then you need to crawl out from underneath the rock and realize what happens, because that's real life. Right now, if we have an animal abuse, an animal cruelty case, the officers that are out there handle it from start to finish. They don't tie up a detective. They don't tie up 5 or 6 other deputies. They take care of it from start to finish. I think we're getting a lot of bang for our buck right now. Now, could it be better? Of course it can be. What can't be better? I mean, all of us, you know, it can always be better. But we have to realize if it goes to another entity, they're not going to be able to enforce laws, just like Rutherford County. You know, all of that money, all of those employees, and just like that gentleman said, his animal control officers are armed with a clipboard and a catch pole. Now, folks, what's going to happen when they have to go on a vicious dog call? Are they going to throw the clipboard at him? Are they going to try to get him with the catch pole? Have you ever tried getting a vicious dog with a catch pole? No, it's pretty difficult. But we have other ways of handling it, you know. Again, if their officers went out on a call and somebody said, no, kick rocks, get off my property, what are they going to do? Now, if they have a legal reason to be there, they can take whatever action is necessary. So there again, I want us to realize, could it be better? Yes. Maybe give up animal control 17 full-time employees. Give the sheriff's office that at animal control, see how it turns out. Because that way you're still getting more bang for your buck, instead of having to tie up another entity's personnel to do a job.
Good point. This is Commissioner Ronger. And then Commissioner Jones.
I was going to call a question.
I'm like, before we do any voting, I was never,
He's called the question.
I don't think you never voted on my motion.
Just for clarification, there wasn't a second. So
So you voted
motion
against-
died. There wasn't a second, so we didn't vote on it because of that. Is that correct, Mr. Roderick?
I didn't hear anybody say no.
Okay, so had to call the question. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No. So the motion fails, it's just in the middle.
I just wanted to clarify something. We can give all kinds of reasons why it would be a challenge to do it any other way than what we're doing it currently, but the conversation that was had last week by a professional was somebody who is doing it a different way and successfully doing it a different way. The argument is that it's going to cost more money. This is nothing personal for me. The whole reason why I got invested in this animal control issue was because I was trying to make sure we were doing it two things. One, for the interest of the animals when there was issues with euthanasia rates and issues with virus spreading around animal control, and there was quick corrections made by the Sheriff's Department to fix that, but we started looking at is our best practices being followed, and we didn't know what we didn't know. The Sheriff's Department didn't know what he didn't know. We both reached out. We found that we weren't doing things to current best practice models. So we did a lot of research in that and figured out what we were lacking and started implementing things to make things better. Are they better? Yes. I'm encouraged because the Sheriff's Department has come the last 2 months and reported 100% spayed and neutered and vaccinations on all adoptions. That was not happening for years prior to that. The relationship with Sumner Spay and Neuter is back mended again. That is all thanks to the pressure that the citizens have put on this committee and to them to get that corrected. And they worked it out. The Sheriff's Department worked it out with them. I'm happy to say that that's working. It's better. Whichever way this goes, it is not personal. It's about efficiencies. And we saw a group of people that were doing the job that were making high-paid salaries to take care of animals. And we thought maybe it could be done better because not every position in that animal control office needed to be a Sheriff's Department employee or deputy salary to do that job. So that's where we were researching. This is not personal. We've shown how it's possible to do another model. It's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. It'll be a lot of work to try to get it to do something different than what we're doing. But don't think it's not possible. It's just about whether or not we have the will to make it happen. But if whichever way it goes, if the Sheriff's Department ends up keeping it, I hope that this committee at the very least keeps them on the agenda for that being part of the normal sheriff's report to report those numbers. Because I think the citizens want to see that there has been a payoff with regards to the care of animals when they see the numbers, the metrics come out of the vaccinations and the spays and neuters, and that relationship with the entity that's doing them right now is maintained, because that's important for the future of animal control as a whole for this county. So that's the very least of things I'd like to see.
Just one quick thing on that, and I wanted to say it earlier, but I didn't want to jump ahead of anybody. The one thing that I did learn, and anyone who watched it, the director from Rutherford County said the number one thing that made the euthanasia rate go down and made everything not overwhelmed was that spay and neuter piece. And we've been at 100%. And it's like, I just got to say, I'm thankful to the Sheriff's Department for doing that. You know, so that, to me, that's a big, big win. And I think that moves in a good direction. And I think the other thing that's a big win is Sheriff Clark. We have a sheriff who has said over and over again that he's very open to speaking to anybody about the issue. And I do believe that. And I think that you know, no matter what's decided on this, I think that folks can reach out and find out that, and we can have those conversations as they go, but I think we gotta move in a good direction and know where we're going, because it's getting budget season, we gotta find this out, yes, sir.
Just as I stated last Monday, I personally feel we're a year out from doing anything, no matter the decision of this committee. First of all, we've got to find out if the mayors of other municipalities are even willing, wanting, and able for us, being Sumner County, have control of their animals. If they have an overflow or disease come in or whatever.
You mean in the city, mayors?
Yeah, the municipalities. So then we also have to be mindful of what's the court's opinions. I heard Rutherford County say a lot of times they have to basically judge shop to get their documents signed that they needed to do. Then the other concern is what is our DA's opinion? What does our DA want to have happen with his animal cruelty cases? Ultimately, they're his. When the animal's taken in custody, that's his evidence that he's going to prosecute a case with. Do we have trained individuals that's on the ground going to feed, nurture, weigh, do all the weights, measurements, gaining weight, loss of appetite, loss of an animal? Where do we then dispose of an animal? All those questions need to be answered. And then ultimately is what's the property agreement with the agency of which we're going to work with? Do they stay in our building, or are they going to have their own building? Too many facets out there to be able to say something from the table. That's why, Mr. Chairman, I will renew my motion that we leave it with the sheriff's office.
Yes, and I second that. So, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
We do a roll call.
Yeah, we'll do a roll call. I was a yes.
Rogers, yes.
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 I would say that my no, because I think we have options that we could discuss, but we can't.
But we can't continue discussing that.
Right.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but I think it's all one-sided, that's just me.
Well, I appreciate y'all. The motion does pass, and just stay with the sheriff's department. Sheriff's office, PTO policy update. So just a quick update on that. Yes, sir.
Do you want me to go over it, or do you got it?
I think I can, you can if you want to, but I think it's just two little points.
Yeah, it is. Birthdays and,
I'd love for you to, if you don't mind.
well,
I've got them highlighted, want me to run through them real quick?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I want to make sure that
At least he gets it on the floor.
just for the people at home, for sure.
before, birthdays had to be taken the day before, or the day after. If your birthday fell on a weekend, you could take it Friday or Monday. Now, it's just going straight into PTO,
Right.
personal time off. Daylight savings time, I think there were some issues. Some of these guys are working 14 hours, or 13 hours instead of 12, and it just settles all of that.
And that's been on the books since the 1940s.
Yes.
It's some crazy.
Am I not correct?
Just to be clear on that, yes to what he said, but on the flip side, people were getting paid 12 for working 11.
Yeah.
It works both ways.
It does
Spring
work.
and fall.
Unless you start saying
Some people, right, right, but that's not the time wise.
But this clarifies that as a pay policy for the
Yeah.
sheriff.
And we already have, we're not adding birthdays. Birthdays are already on there, correct?
The thing about this is because of the way the sheriff's department works, you lose the benefit as a county employee if you don't use it within that 3-day period of your birthday. Here, they just get to bank it, and I think after we reviewed it, that was probably a good idea, because we don't know what their shifts are gonna be, or what kind of schedule they're gonna be working on their birthday, so just let them bank it.
Yeah, and the other great argument that the sheriff posed is he said that we don't want people necessarily having to take their birthday off.
Right.
If they're gonna take it off right in the middle of the school week if they're SRO officer.
Exactly.
It was a good point.
And as a SRO myself, you hate to be away from our school. Sometimes you have to be, but why not make it to where you have that choice and you don't have to be out,
Do it in summer.
Before we vote on that, can I just ask our law director, any decision here gonna have any bearing on any other paid time off
or any other, county employee
This is
with
sheriff's
reciprocity
departments
or,
only,
I'm sorry?
sheriff's department only.
I know, but is it gonna cause issues where other people are gonna want the same, or does other people have birthdays off, or they're, now that they've set something, a precedent, they're gonna ask for it too, or
This
is there a
will be-
worry there?
This is
or-
one of those effective once ratified type of situations, so it just, we draw a line in the sand and move forward. So whatever was done before, I guess I don't completely understand your question.
Are we
If they
making
took the time
changes?
off, they took the time off.
No, I'm saying, are we making changes that are gonna have a ripple effect
How
through
about
the?
register of deeds,
More like-
county clerk, trustee?
Yeah,
No, because it's the sheriff's department
Correct.
policy on it. This is an elected official and he can do this.
okay,
Got it. Good. That's
okay,
good.
thank you, thanks.
All other constitutional officers will have to follow suit if they wanted to.
Yeah, there'd have to be specific changes brought about by them themselves.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanna make sure we weren't starting something we couldn't
That makes
reel
sense.
in or whatever.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second, right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same token. Okay, and, go ahead and say we can adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Okay,